we're in this week.
For the department presentations, we have scheduled them in the order of function. We have a couple that we know need to be discussed under health and sanitation, behavioral health, and Planning and Development Services has requested to make a presentation tomorrow.
Yes, he's not here. So.
I don't see other agencies. I was contacted by some other agencies that may begin to make a presentation. So if we continue to tomorrow, then we probably should offer for other agencies and public comment.
Let me ask hopefully your calendars, gentlemen, I'm talking to all the supervisors up here, for tomorrow after the board meeting. This will be after lunch, correct?
I would rather go, what's Wednesday?
I'm going to be gone Wednesday, that's fine.
We're going to be baked in I don't know what the agenda's like tomorrow.
Well, let's set aside the whole week for this.
Yeah, I've got tomorrow afternoon available, so but I've scheduled for tomorrow. Let's check my schedules.
You're the chairman, but
we have a vice chair. We have a vice chair.
I am not sure tomorrow is especially long. We'll see.
Well, that's why I raised this issue last week in all fairness to the department heads to have an idea of when they would be presenting so that they're not having to sit through a whole day and then they're not expecting to speak that day and they don't get on to the day after or the following day.
Right.
I realize the chairman is not going to be it, but I would rather meet Wednesday morning rather than sit through all day. Well,
Yeah, planning will not be available on Wednesday morning.
Right. Let's see how today goes, and let's see. There may not be that many to do tomorrow.
What's tomorrow's agenda look like? Anybody know?
It's not very long. There are quite a few things in closed session. I'm not sure.
Ralph, what's closed session look
It's
like?
going to get through pretty quick.
Yeah.
You got to have a problem.
So we should get on this stuff before lunch, right?
I'd have to ask Mr. Root about closed session.
Yeah, but there's a good. I'll tell you about the
Oh, I forgot about it. My creature.
That's okay. That's all right.
Mike, what are we looking on closed session?
I think you have about, you could at least have 30 minutes in there.
Okay.
Shouldn't be too long.
And
Probably the longest action item we have is the sheriff. We have to do discuss the permit, the Recreation Safety Enforcement Division, and modification of the allocations and closing that division down.
That's the sheriff's department.
That's the sheriff's department. That's the
Yeah.
well, Ray Saucedo's coming tomorrow. Ray's held about the election, so that's going to be another hour.
It'll be 3 minutes. It'll be 3 minutes.
He lost.
Give or take.
Yeah.
All right. I'll look at tomorrow afternoon. I think we'll see how this goes. But
We can, but if we get through before lunch, we can just go ahead and work after the regular meeting rather than go ahead and set the meeting for 1 o'clock or something. Right?
Go through lunch.
We just work right through and do it.
we'll determine how that goes. I don't know about anybody else. I hate to have the presentation eating in front of people.
No. My question is this: if tomorrow's meeting moves with alacrity, and we can finish at a decent hour, we can continue up to lunch and maybe break and come back. In other words, we don't have to set the budget meeting till like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
correct.
Okay. Right. But even if we do, I think there's time to do that. If you can't be here, that's fine too. So
Let's get started.
let's move on. All right. Who starts in general government?
Yeah, Human Resources has an augmentation that they wish to discuss.
All right.
I'm not sure that I mentioned the capital outlay
That's it.
is at the last of your binder, and none of those are included in the budget, and we'll have to find funding for some of them if you elect to do them.
Some are on, like the airport stuff is on the grants.
Right, yeah.
I mean, that's a different thing.
And I believe, I'm sorry, those may well be in the budget, the airport.
I did have questions about some of the fish on the fire protection, but I'll ask how when you chief comes up. All right.
Ron Grassi, Director of Human Resources.
As I mentioned earlier, as far as creating the series, one of the things that I'd like to do in this budget is allocating my HR analyst at the higher level. I'm not requesting any funding for this at this time. It's just basically that the positions be allocated at the 3 series, and so then myself included could have the opportunity to move an HR analyst from a 1 to a 2 to a 3. The other item I had was based on last Tuesday's board meeting. The direction was to bring the SunGuard BiTech back to the board during the budget hearings.
That's what he's talking about right now.
Okay.
I don't know if you have this. It was based on
This is SunGuard BiTech.
right. We discussed this at last Tuesday's board meeting, and at that time it was said that we should bring it back during the budget hearings. What I've been able to do on this item is basically scale down the project. We have currently in this year's budget, in the 07-08 budget, $55,000 that was approved last year and is in the budget. And what I was able to do was scale down the project to where we're just doing application online and documents online. And that would be within the budget that was allocated for the 07-08. The employee online was another $30,000, and I'd like to leave that off, and we can do that later on down the road. So what I'd like to ask is if there's any way we can get this back on the board's agenda, regular agenda, to be approved with money from this year, because for the 08-09 I don't have any funds allocated for this.
But if we fund it out of this year, then it makes less money available for next year, right? On the fund balances?
If it's not funded in this year, the $55,000 I've allocated in this year's budget goes and continue into your fund balance.
Very well. The ending fund balance, according to this proposal balance, is $10 million.
Right.
Anything we take and use now will reduce that $10 million, I would assume. It wouldn't? So where's it going to magically come from?
Well, it's already calculated in there. It's in the request by all the departments.
So this request he's making here, you've already...
$55,000, and he has budgeted, it's already estimated to be spent.
And you want to spend $53,000 of the 55, is that correct?
It comes pretty close. I added another $1,200 for a scanner, so it's pretty close to the $55,000.
It's right at $31 short of $55,000.
And so that's already been calculated into the final budget?
Yes.
For 2007, 2008.
2007, 2008.
One of the original questions...
And Joe, maybe you can explain why that $55,000 was allocated into the budget for this year. Ron, maybe you can.
Okay.
It actually had to be spent on something else, but...
It was money that was set aside for basically to go onto paperless, to try setting up scanning and moving into the direction of getting rid of a lot of the paper right now in human resources. This would basically help me.
It was actually a little more specific than that. It was actually for the Questies program and the
Questies, again, remind us?
It's a paperless type of program where you can go and scan your paperwork in and file it, and it provides for the hardware, the scanning, and everything else that goes along with it.
The department scans it in, the public?
No, the department scans it in. It's directed for the department's use. What the department would do with it, and Ron can explain how he would use it, but nonetheless, generally the program is you scan it in and you keep everything in an electronic file to eliminate the need to have paper.
Of files and files of paper.
Right, but this
There's no hard copy backup.
Well, generally speaking, you use it to archive old documents and stuff like that. You can use it.
And what do you do with the paper
Shred
that
it.
you scanned in?
You can shred it. You can shred it.
Okay.
once it's scanned in, you can shred it. But this is a little bit of a spin-off from there. It's not exactly the Questies program because this is using our current software, SunGuard BiTech.
Why did you move from Questies then to this?
Because this would allow me to use current this would allow me to take new information and current employees and build a record file in the system, our current system that we currently own. And it would allow us to build a system with the documents there. So once I open up the iTest on that particular employee, all their documents would come up.
So this particular part would start the paperless,
Exactly.
but it wouldn't help you with what you already got.
This would start the paperless. It would help me with my current employees, and it would also help me with data entry because application online would then allow new applicants to go onto our website and be putting their applications online.